Here we are.
Hello.
We're live. Happy
It's like
New
we're both
Year.
like,
No,
Happy
it took
New
us.
Year. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back. Happy 2023. Another Industry Live starting out January 3rd, 2023. I always want to say 1923. That's probably not true, but
Yeah, a little past
welcome
that.
back in any event. Yeah. I'm that Kimberly.
And it's Deb here, along with
Carla.
Yay.
What are we talking about today, Carla?
Well, you saw me hold up the book, and I think we put it in the title, but we are talking about this wonderful book that I'm reading now, by David Allen. It's called Getting Things Done: The Art of Stress-Free Productivity. And I can tell you that it's already changed a lot of my mindset. Just about overall how we process information, how we process thoughts. And my husband actually was kind enough to share it with me, because I was like kind of freaking out going into 2023 and seeing all of the endless amounts of things that we all have going on and how we're going to handle that. So, wanted to chat about just some of the steps that he has highlighted for us to kind of build a productive environment. But I wanted to start with a question first. Have either of you ever sat down and written every single thought that has come to your mind at that given time?
Yes.
Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Did you like it? Did you like that
Yes.
process?
I
And
do. I do. I call it the brain dump.
Yes, I haven't never done that, and that's one of the things that David Allen suggests for you to do, just because it literally empties your entire mind of everything and anything that is going on, and it actually is a very like soothing process, according to him. So I that was one of the things that I was like, man, I really have to do that at some
Mm-hmm.
point in my life. So when I started reading the book, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sit there and just write everything and anything that is going on in my head, at that specific time. It could be a plan, it could be an idea, it could be a goal, whatever it is that's happening in your mind. So
Awesome.
um, and then I also wanted to just kind of give an overview of the book, but he wrote this back in 2001, which was a long, long time ago, if you think about it. And he since has revised it, just because there's obviously since 2001, there's been
Some
lots
changes.
of technological advances, lots of changes, and tools that we can use, which at the end of this, we will go over. I know that Kimberly found some really good ways of us learning how to find apps and stuff that will help us with productivity in the future. So,
That's
yeah, but
awesome.
reading a book is very helpful to get the
yes.
whatever it is, the process going in your head.
Yeah.
Um, and like Deb said, a brain dump, like what she calls it, I call it a to-do list. It's painful sometimes for me. So I use because it just seems like it gets longer and longer.
Yeah.
But yeah, so maybe some of those tools in the book will help me with that as well.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're watching us now, if you've ever done that, if you've ever done a brain dump, I would love to hear, if you liked it, did it stress you out even more to look at all the list of things that you
Of
have in your
course. It's on
brain?
my wall right now.
Do
So
you? That's great.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
I
good.
love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So another thing that I read, that I really, really enjoyed, that honestly I think I'm gonna probably print it and put it up somewhere in my office, is from David Allen. Is he says the mind is for creating thoughts and ideas and not for holding thoughts and ideas, which I thought was interesting because yes, our brain has a lot of capabilities and a lot of space and memory, but we as humans can only process a limited amount of information at a time. And so I think with the brain dump, with all of that, it's important to understand like we are not going to be able to focus on everything all at the same time.
Yeah.
For sure.
Um, that's because of our amygdala.
Oh, Oh, I did not know that.
And-
Thank you
and-
for that science
Well,
lesson.
I watched this. It was a neuroscience Star Talk. It just happened to be with one of the scientists. It's two scientists, two comedians, and one Tyson DeGrasso. I'm probably saying it incorrectly, but they had they had the young lady who's also a neuroscientist come on. Her name is I want to call her Blossom. That's what my generation knows her as, but she's Amy Farrah Fowler.
Yes.
Mhm.
She's a
Yes.
PhD. She's a
Yes,
real
she is.
neuroscientist. And so this talk that I saw online about 3 years, it was from 3 years ago. They talked about we can't process everything. Our brain cannot hold everything. So when we sleep, it helps us, put the things that we need into order and process the things that we thought out through the day. Like way better explanation. Yeah. Highly recommend going to look for that. It's called Star Talk. Just Google it with Big Bang Theory, Amy, and it'll come up. It's very interesting about, just ironically talking about when, the things we hold in our brain and the things we release as well.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's happened to you all, but I went through a couple of weeks where I just had so much going on that I was trying to write everything down like that I had to do. But then I would actually do things and forget that I did them. Mm-hmm. So then I would redo them because I forgot that I did them. And then I would go back and say, wait a minute, I think I did do this. And I went and checked and I'm like, yeah, I actually did. I did send that email. I did do that. Like, so I feel like that spoke to me so much that you have to kind of, first of all, slow down and, and really understand the best way that your brain works and how you can, get yourself to a place where you're feeling productive. Because even though I was still doing things, I felt like I wasn't being productive at all. Like I was just kind of on a hamster wheel.
Right.
So
yeah.
It was a lot.
What are some of the other suggestions he has in there for time management?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I think you guys cut off. I had some technical issues. So say that again, Kim.
It was Deb. Deb, say it again.
Oh, I was asking what other tips for time management has he talked about in that book?
Oh yeah. So actually, let's just jump into the 5 things the 5 steps that he has to create a productive lifestyle. So we put them up here on the screen, but we'll go through each of them and just do like a little snippet of what each of them means. And so step number 1 is what we talked about, which is the brain dump. Capture everything that crosses your mind, nothing too big or nothing too small that seems to go directly, these seem to go directly in your inbox. So that could be, I know he gave some pointers on if you are like a writer, so write it on a piece of notebook. If you carry around a notebook with you, or if you are more tech savvy, like I put everything in notes in my phone, or if you want to email it to yourself, whatever way works for you. It's really just about emptying your brain of all of the thoughts and ideas that you have. And that is anything like I have to take out the trash today because it's Thursday, or I have to, paint my nails or I have to create a budget, or if you guys have stuff that, is in your head, like name a few things that are in your head that you might need to dump, at this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Everything.
Yeah, right. Everything.
Scheduling travel. Yeah. Scheduling travel, projects. Deb, what about you?
Everything. Like, I mean, I brain dumped like right before the holidays. So I have 4 giant sheets on my wall with my brain dump and some key priorities.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like that. I think that's the whole point, is just making sure that you're not holding anything in your brain. Like don't leave anything out, just dump it all. Even if it's the silliest things. Like I remember him saying, like, it's literally to the point where it's the basic things that are like in your brain that nothing is too insignificant to dump from your brain for that one given time. So Totally agree on that.
Then
and then you can use, again, like we were mentioning before, you can use an application for that. You can use your phone. You can use a basic notebook. He carries around like a little tiny notebook in his pocket where he'll just like, if he has an idea in his head that pops up out of nowhere, he'll just like write it down, which I thought was kind of interesting too, which, you know, obviously nowadays we have phones that we can do that, but at least have one place where you can capture all of your ideas.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. I have a hard time. I have multiple notebooks, unfortunately, and I use Evernote. So
yeah. Oh yeah, Evernote is really good too. I've used that before.
Yeah.
It's really good for organizing like all of your files and everything.
Yeah. Okay, so
go ahead.
What do you use currently, Carla?
I just use notes on my phone. I literally have endless notes from years and years ago, but I'm definitely going to be organizing that and using like one actual file to like have all of my my thoughts and ideas in. So
yeah. Thank goodness for technology.
Yes. Well, it's because you can take it everywhere, right? Like I love writing things down. Like I have to write things down in order to remember them, but
me too.
I don't like carrying a lot of things with me. So I think that's where I feel like I'm going to be more productive if I have it on my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after you've done all that, Deb, do you have a plan? I know you said you kind of prioritize some of the brain dumps that you had. So what did you do after you wrote everything down?
I broke it up into subjects, right? So there's multiple projects happening.
Yeah.
And so now from there, I'm going to start time blocking.
Nice.
Time block. Very nice. Yeah.
I like that. And that's kind of what he says in step number 2. So once you have all of this information, then you can kind of break it into either actionable things. So like you have to understand, okay, is this going to be something that I'm going to do as a project, which means it's a little bit more longer term? Then I have to kind of time block and set actions to that. Is it something that's just a reference material, like information that you just have that you can kind of put away? Or is it something that you need to do right now? And so one of the things that he mentioned was there's like a 2-minute time rule that he has. So let's say, for example, you just got an email. And obviously that's an idea, right? That's a thought that's kind of coming from you to you externally. Is it something that's going to take 2 minutes or less? If it is, just get it done. If taking out the trash is going to take you 2 minutes or less, get it done. Like just get the things done immediately and don't put them off if they are something that is actionable that you can do within those 2 minutes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And again, that would help you. I think to me, that helps me feel very productive because those are things that are not on my list that I'm not putting off until I'm tired and don't want to do it today. So I'm just going to rush in the morning and take out the trash. Right.
Yeah.
I like that. I like the 2-minute rule.
I do too. Microsoft Outlook. I just realized the new version, that has Teams and everything. It gives you focus time. Like I hit this button on the side. I was reading some of the tasks that it will help automate and do. And one of them is giving you, it looks at your calendar and then it sets focus time for you. I mean,
like
I don't know if
that's something that you can probably use as well. Like,
or blocking. And I have been told before that if you don't put, an hour, 30 minutes, if you have multiple projects, and I have started putting timers for myself.
Yeah.
But I also had to put that time on the calendar to say, I'm not going to look at my phone. I'm not going to take a phone call. I'm not going to do anything but this project for an hour or however long I feel I need to, and then move on. Right.
I think that he mentioned he actually has a role also for the projects, which I think you guys are on the right track. So he's like, it's okay to have multiple projects. It's okay to have projects that are kind of a sit and wait. That he calls it like an incubation period for those projects. So there's things that we want to do. Like I want to learn how to play guitar. That's something that I would put on my list. And it's not something that I need to do right this very moment, but it is going to be on my list of things to do. Right. And then there's, things that maybe it's clearing out your garage. That's a project. if your garage is, really in disarray like mine is, because all my Christmas supplies are in there now. It's if you have a project that you're saying, okay, I have a timeline for this. This isn't something that I just desire to do in the future, then at least have one actionable step for that project. So that kind of propels you to kind of be more productive. Like, okay, if I have to, create a budget for like a property, then what's the very next step? Like that granular you kind of have to get. What's the very next step? Well, maybe it's pulling up the template and saving it into, a file. That's the next step. But at least it's something that I can say, okay, I can go ahead and do this at this time and then put that in my calendar for the next step that I have to do for that specific project, right?
Yeah.
So I thought that was really good.
Get that. Could you try?
And you can use voice automate voice. Yep, I love it.
She's giving me things to do already.
Yes. Yeah, I use them too. I can't say either one of those names because I have both listening to me.
I just call them she. That's it.
She, yes, I have the she's too. Voice tools help for
Yes,
sure.
they do. Absolutely do.
Yeah.
They've been helping me for my reminders as well. Like just to have a voice in the background tell me my time is up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That helps organize that. Would you say that's what he says for the next thing when it comes to organizing?
Yeah. So put everything in its right place. Add dates to your calendar. You can delegate action items. So maybe it's something that you're waiting on somebody else for. Well, that's your chance to say, hey, XYZ person, I need your help with this. And that kind of takes it off of your plate until it comes back, when they do what they need to do. And then again, like he was saying, reference materials, right? When you're looking at the information and the thoughts and ideas that you have, is it something that it's just for your information? It's just things that you need to know for the future, and then sort them. So like, I know Deb, you were talking about there, you did your whole brain dump and then there's things that you prioritized. Did you do that based on like a specific topic and how did you kind of determine what was a priority and what was not?
Yeah, I'm still working through that. But you've made me think, like while talking through this, I broke it down by project, like, the different categories they belong in, but I need to put dates to them.
Deadlines.
And deadline them. Like I have to do that.
Yeah. And that's a important piece to it as well, because yes, you can have an endless amount of projects, but there's going to be at some point where you have to determine what's more important, right? In your list of projects to do. And that's where you kind of can break it down even further in the organization step is, okay, is this a project that has a deadline? Because maybe you have a customer that has a deadline. Or, you have a deadline to do something, for work or for your personal life. Hey, I have to
volunteer.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly. If there's a specific date that you need to prepare for, then that's where you can kind of even break it down further and organize it. If it's a project that's due within a week, it's a project that's due in 3 months. Obviously, you're going to start working on the ones that are actionable right now, then something that maybe you can do, you can start planning for dates in the future, right? So it kind of helps you put things into perspective and prioritize correctly.
Yes. Love that.
And then the last step, actually, no, this is step number 4. We have 5 steps.
Did I miss a step?
I think you did.
I'm sorry. Okay. Go ahead.
I can tell you what the last step is anyway. And the last step is pretty easy. Review is step number 4. So he kind of gives us a template of when to kind of review whether your plan is working or not. And you have to kind of constantly do that. So he says, definitely make sure that you're reviewing at least daily, just the things that are on your list that you've made actionable, tasks for. is it working? Is it not working? Do you need to change anything? Do you need to create another task for something that maybe has a future deadline? But you should be reviewing at least a small, like 15, 20, 30 minutes daily, and then review your entire list at least weekly. And then if you want to do it monthly as well, just to kind of make sure there isn't anything else you have to add to your data, to your brain dump. I want to call it a data dump because I feel like in my head, like it's a computer and everything is just data. So, but do you guys do this? Because I've never done that before. Just reviewed like, is my system working or not? Because I have employed a lot of systems for productivity, and sometimes I feel like they don't work, and I haven't really analyzed them.
Mm-hmm. Right. No, I think that's all key to finding the system that works best for you.
Yeah.
For me, like you use notes on your phone and notes on my phone, like I don't. And if I put things in there, I forget that I even put things in there because that's not my go-to. So then I go back like 3 months later and I'm like, oh, look, I had a note.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's doing me today. Yeah.
And that's what's important, is what's working for you. For me, I write them down in a notebook. But when I'm on the go, because I don't want to carry everything with me. Sometimes I used to carry a lot of stuff with me, but when I'm trying to get better at not. And so then I'll put it in my Evernote, and Evernote automatically syncs to my computer. So for me, that helps me. And Evernote is advancing their tools on an ongoing basis, to where you can set up. I used to email myself and then I'd get all these extra emails, and that didn't work. So that system I had to reanalyze. So really, and then, there's other OneNote apps. There's all kinds of systems and apps, but you said it right. Like what works best for your brain, because everybody's brain is different and everybody processes differently. So what works for you, and analyze, like you have to constantly analyze, is this still working for me this year, or in this chapter of my life, or at this company, or for this project? Because sometimes it doesn't, right?
Yep.
What's step number 5?
I found the
there you go. Honestly, just do it. I think it's really, I think a lot of times, and what I found in myself as well, is like, I will say, okay, cool. I have my plan. I, lined everything out for myself, and it's all in my brain and it just doesn't get done. Right. So you got to put kind of the steps into everything that you've laid out for yourself. So just essentially it is get to work on the important stuff that you have. And then use the system. So if it's a couple of things that you can use from maybe step 1 and 2, and then you have your own way of organizing things, then great. But like what we were saying is, whatever works for you, if it's 1 step, 2 steps, all of the steps, or a different system altogether, then that's perfectly fine. I think, there's an endless amount of tools and books and theories on productivity, but I think the important part is that you're actually doing them, and that you're actually, analyzing what works for you and changing it if you feel like it doesn't.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And just so people know, I did Google time management apps for 2023, and I learned up here where it says, well, I didn't reprocess it. So let me.
Oh yeah, we need to refresh. Let's see.
And time management apps, if it doesn't stall on me. But of course, now the little thing is not there.
There it
Come
is.
on.
There it is.
I love technology. There we go. In 48 seconds, when I did it a few minutes ago, it was almost 500 million people, right? We're looking right here. 38 seconds ago, 186 million are looking for. So we're not the only ones that are thinking about our time management and time blocking. No, like, this little tool over here can help you if you want to find out verbatim, you want to find out, within the past week, you want to find how many people are searching in the great little work. I'm trying to show you, but it's okay. So Google is the key, has a lot of great information on there, but finding out what works for you, I think, is
yeah. I think you have to play around with a few different applications.
So when
work.
Absolutely, 100%. When I did do that Google, it brought me up the top 10 lists of apps or whatever, and I found 2 that I use or have actually recommended. Zapier is one of them, and it's basically it's an app, an open API that helps automatically connect all your other apps together. So you take an action, like if you have you want to share your design feedback, they tape little zaps that you can set up. So if you get a lead in Salesforce, there's a zap that's gonna send it to your Slack channel. There's like 4,000 web apps that you can integrate together. Not all at the same time, obviously, but based on what you do. And then Trello was another one that I have used.
Is Trello kind of like almost like project management style?
Yeah, it's for sure. Yeah. It's and some people like it, some people don't. It just depends on. Asana was another one. I've never used it, but I've heard of it. So I'm just telling people to Google it and figure it out, test it, try it. Yeah. If it is, Deb, what do you use? You're really into the Remarkable lately.
I do, well, for notes, but I also do like Trello. I do have Trello.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. And anything else that you use that you?
Because I am a note taker, so my Remarkable 2 tablet is a game changer because I'm not having to go through so many notepads.
Yeah.
Up with those, that was something that was, I would get done with the notepad, put it away, and then if I was out of town traveling or whatever, I needed something from the old notebook, but or a new notebook. So now it's one big notebook forever.
Yeah.
That is awesome. I love that.
I want to learn to use OneNote for that reason, because I started researching whether I should get the Remarkable or if I should just get better with using my Surface and OneNote. And so I need to it has this little pen, and I need to just take some lessons online to figure out.
Yeah, I actually use OneNote I started using it last year for my properties, since I have multiple properties and I have notebooks for each of them in OneNote, so that I don't forget all of the things that I, talk to my teams about while I'm on site. So I can tell you definitely OneNote is really functional. And on the iPhone, they have an app too. So if you don't have your Surface and you're walking around or something, you need a note, it's all kind of synchronized, and it's across different platforms too. So
I love that.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And Microsoft, I don't know enough about the Google Suite, but Microsoft Outlook, like I said, has that time blocking. It also now sends you, or I agreed and I said yes to something, and I get an email that tells me, here are all the people you emailed back. Here are all the people you responded. So that, because I used to have that same problem, Carla, where because I was stressed, and stress causes memory loss, people. It's a thing, right? So it's really something that I have been very mindful about. Why is this happening to me? Because I was worried that it was Alzheimer's or early dementia, and it's not, it's just stress. But if I could make my life a little bit less stressful because I'm that task, it is in my core fiber to do what I say I'm going to do. And when I feel like I'm getting behind, or I'm going to let someone or let a project drop or let someone down, it gives me serious anxiety, to the max. So I had to just find something that would help me. And I love that I can go and look at that email and say, if I don't need to look at it, I don't look at it. Right. But I won't be going back and trying to send another email to somebody or doing a task, so I've been there with you for sure.
Awesome. What's the name of that book again and the author, Carla?
Getting Things Done, The Art of Stress-Free Productivity by David Allen.
Cool.
And I'll put a link in our Industry Live Metro Cool, if I can find it.
And he
Let's
does
which
have
one?
a YouTube channel as well. He has a YouTube channel. He's on Instagram more than Facebook. So
Okay,
if you want to follow him there too.
Cool. I'll find his YouTube channel and put the book link in there, or one or vice versa. But yeah, that's pretty awesome. We appreciate you sharing that with us today. If you guys have anywhere you guys are watching us from, if you have an app or a book that you have read that you feel has been helpful in your time management, please tell us, let us know.
Yes.
It is definitely something that I feel we should constantly be assessing and trying out something different if what we're doing is not working for our brain, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Alexa, dismiss. There's my reminder.
That's awesome. All right. Well, yeah, make sure you email us too. You can email us at beyondindustrylive@gmail.com. So feel free to email us. Make sure that if you are watching, you subscribe, you like, do all those things. And, we try to do this every Tuesday, but we do want to hear from you. We want your ideas. We want, bring your knowledge and your expertise. This is what this platform is for.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. And there's that link again for the resources. And if you want to also be a guest, right there. So
cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys very much. Happy New Year to you ladies.
You too.
And we will talk to you all next Tuesday.
All right. Bye.
Bye, y'all.